Hey, what's good? I go by the name of Kinell, and you are locked in to Sinister Cinema.
Fucking hell.
Hey, what's good? It's Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we're going to be getting deep into the cuts of some old classics and new releases in the genre of exploitation and horror cinema. And today I'm reviewing Full Moon Features' Corona Zombies, directed by Charles Band. Now, as you can see right down here, it is only April 11th. So how have Full Moon managed to get a film about COVID-19 together already? It was announced without a script or anything in the middle of last month, around March 12th. I think it was something like that. And the film has been completed last Thursday, the 9th, released on Full Moon Features yesterday, available for streaming via their website, which is where I watched it. So they put this together in an incredibly swift amount of time. And how did they do this? Well, they just used a lot of footage from other films with a handful of original content. But I think they've done a pretty good job of it, all said. Now, most of the footage that they've used comes from a film that I know as Zombie Creeping Flesh, one of the original video nasties. It's an Italian zombie film written by Claudio Fargrassi, who's you might know as the guy who wrote Troll 2, and directed by Bruno Mattei. Now, in the hierarchy of Italian horror directors, right at the top, you've got your Mario Barbas and your Dario Argentos, the real auteurs who created films that are still considered works of art, and these directors were often cited by the likes of De Palma and Scorsese as big influences. Just below them, you've got the slightly more exploitative directors, your Lucio Fulcis, your Ruggero Deodatos, that were very much hopping on whatever wave was going, but were also had a real sense of art to them. They were a lot more extreme, a lot more exploitative, but that's my kind of favourite level. And just below them, you've got your Bruno Matteis. Now, these are your sort of journeymen who are just hopping on whatever wave was happening at the time in Italian cinema, be it giallos, be it cannibal films, be it zombie films. And that is exactly what Zombie Creeping Flesh is. Now, of all the films to rip off Dawn of the Dead, and there was a few, Hell of the Living Dead, aka Zombie Creeping Flesh, is the most blatant by a long shot. Now, a lot of people would attribute Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie 2 to that Lucio Fulci's film. But that film was actually in production at the time that Dawn of the Dead was also in production. Dawn of the Dead came out slightly before, and it was a big hit in Italy. And it was also produced by Dario Argento, so it had a bit of an Italian connection to itself. So Zombie Flesh Eaters was originally released in cinemas as Zombie 2, because the Italians, they don't give a fuck. They will just make a sequel without asking permission, or take a film that isn't even a sequel and call it a sequel, just to sell it. And to be honest, I admire that level of flagrancy. Fuck 'em. Yes, anyway, now as I said, Zombie Creeping Flesh it's a very exploitative, blatant Dawn ripoff, even uses some whole music. It says on the credits for Zombie Creeping Flesh that the music's by Goblin. This isn't true. Actually, they've just used whole sections of music that Goblin made for other films, like Dawn of the Dead and Contamination, and just copied and pasted it wholesale. And so a lot of the Zombie Creeping Flesh soundtrack is also the soundtrack to Dawn of the Dead. And they've got soldiers running around, and these guys are like wearing the exact same uniforms as Dawn of the Dead. It's a very, very, very blatant rip-off, but it's also pretty banging, if I'm honest. There's lots of violence in it, plenty of eyeball popping. Eyeball popping was always a big thing in the Italian zombie movies, and I'm a big fan of it. Now, a lot of this footage was redubbed for Corona Zombies, but a lot of the footage was dubbed anyway. the Italian directors, they'd use actors that didn't even speak the same language or understand the language that the script was written in, and just get it all dubbed in later. Sometimes you'd have Italian films where there'd be 3 actors all speaking different languages on the set, but they weren't recording the sound anyway, so they just dub in what they want. I mean, it creates quite a disjointed effect, but really the priorities in Italian cinema were about the spectacle and the set pieces and the emotion of the scene, rather than the dialogue or plot or any of that ridiculous bollocks that American cinema takes so seriously. But ultimately, I'd rather take a Lucio Fulci City of the Living Dead over any amount of mumblecore. So, a lot of this footage was redubbed for Corona Zombies, but it isn't really any different. And the original Zombie Creeping Flash had plenty of footage used from elsewhere anyway. Large sections of it concern a tribe in Papua New Guinea, where for that they just edited in documentary stock footage. So the film is very much a spiritual successor to what Corona Zombies ended up turning out being. But what about Corona Zombies? Okay, as for original content, it's mostly shot in one location, featuring a single actress. That'd be Cody Renee Cameron, who you might know from the Breaking Bad film El Camino and The Neon Demon, films like that. And it's pretty much just her talking on the phone and her friend telling her to turn the news on. Now, she's just got back from Walmart, some kind of, the equivalent of your Asda, your Lidl or whatever, where people have been panic buying hand sanitizer and toilet paper and all this kind of thing. Because it's been made so quickly, a lot of the references that they've put into this film are very, very relevant, because it's all shit that we've been dealing with within the last month or so. And yeah. And her friend asked her to turn on the news. And this is how we cut into the different footage. They've used a lot of actual news footage. There's footage of Donald Trump, those flipping plebs on spring break in Miami, etc. And the footage from Zombie Creeping Flesh, aka Hell of the Living Dead. I should mention that the reason they've got the rights to Hell of the Living Dead, aka Zombie Creeping Flesh, is because it's currently owned by Blue Underground owner Bill Lustig, who also directed Maniac and Maniac Cop. He's strongly tied with Full Moon, and there's a lot of Blue Underground films that you can stream off the Full Moon site. Now, the dialogue is pretty good, and the way they've edited things together I'm also pretty impressed with. There's some amusing lines, like on the news, symptoms including moderate to severe death. And my personal favourite line, bat soup was formulated to create joy, not force people to use hand sanitizer and grease up after intercourse. Poetry, mate. Poetry. But yes, there's references to bat soup, which is produced in the Scrambles Soup Factory, repurposing the nuclear facility from Zombie Creeping Flesh. And a lot of the footage is pretty funny, considering this was probably written just... I get the impression this was just written on a ton of cocaine in one very sweaty sitting. But the jokes are good. As I say, there's news footage, there's references to Trump, references to Man of the Minute, Joe Exotic. A hostage situation is repurposed as a toilet paper heist, and as a bit of a nod to Italian cinema, one of the soldiers is called Argento. There's also some footage in there from another Full Moon film, Zombies vs. Strippers. This is Zombies vs. Strippers from 2012, directed by Alex Nicolai, not to be confused with 2009's Zombie Strippers or 2014's Zomboobies. It was a strange time in human history. People were really putting out a lot of questionable zombie films around then. But, you know, they had to get a bit of the Zombies vs. Strippers in, because Charles Band will not make a film without tits, and I, for one, support his decision. So, is it any good? I'm going to say, yes, it fucking is. It's pretty entertaining. The original Zombie Creeping Flash is quite bloated at 1 hour and 40 minutes, and only the action scenes and the gore scenes have been repurposed for this film. So it's lost a lot of weight in the process. I think Cody Renee Cameron does decent work. She's entertaining, manages to keep you engaged and sew the whole thing together with the wraparound. I mean, effectively, it's a zombie clip show, but it still bumps along nicely. It's coming in at a lean 60 minutes, and there's always something happening on screen. Personally, for ratings, I would say this is a sober 3.5 stars and a drunk 4 stars. Flipping, I'd definitely get the booze in for it, but you know, it's a film called Corona Zombies. What do you expect? Tell me, what do you want from it? Producing a month in one location. You're expecting too much. Well, you certainly expected too much a full moon. Nonetheless. Anyway, so where can you watch this? I watched it on the Full Moon website. You can sign up now. It costs £5 a month, but there's a discount of 66%, so it's only a couple of quid odd plus VAT. And if you enter the code CZ20 as you check out. There's also the Full Moon channel, which is available on Prime. I've been subscribed to that. It hasn't been uploaded yet, but it will be uploaded at some point, I should think. They've been doing the Deadly 10 films and uploading them, pretty handy. But having gone on the Full Moon website, there's a lot of content there that isn't on the Prime channel, so I think we're going to go for that. If you want to watch Zombie Creeping Flesh, aka Hell of the Living Dead, I think that's the Hell of the Living Dead is also available in the Blue Underground section of the Full Moon website. It's available in the UK as Zombie Creeping Flesh on the 88 Films Italian collection, and in the States on Blue Underground. So, that's our first review. That's my first review. It's not like it's everyone else here. I'm just shouting into a phone. I don't know what I'm doing. So, like and subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what you think, all those things that YouTube bellends say at the end of their videos, or maybe the start. I don't know how I do this. I'm just writing into a phone here. And I may well be launching Sinister Cinema as a audio podcast, if that's your preferred format. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And I'm going to do that straight after I finish this. But anyway, till next time, sod off.